Hello, I'm Barbara Lavallure, and I'll be your host today for It's a Woman's World. We are very honored to have Ember Reichgott with us today, sometimes known as Ember Reichgott Young. She's well known in the Minnesota area, but I think she's also probably well known throughout the United States. For various reasons, she has a very interesting life, and we're going to hear about it today. And I'd like to introduce or have the co-hosts introduce themselves. So, Beverly, why don't you kick us off?
Hi, my name is Beverly Crosby, and I'm a producer and editor, storyteller in what I do professionally. And I am very excited to be with this great group of very accomplished women. And Ember, I'm excited to hear your story.
And I'm Melissa Nambangi. I am a journalist by profession, but currently work as an executive director of a nonprofit for African women here in the Twin Cities. I'm very excited to speak with Ember because she's so busy. I just want to know how she does it.
I'm Nadia Jordana, and I'm an author and a writer and an editor and publisher here in the Twin Cities. I am not a dancer, but I do have some questions because I absolutely adore watching good dancers.
Thank you, my co-host for today. And I am Barbara Lavallure. I'm an international photojournalist, and I love this program. It's a woman's world. We get to talk about successful women everywhere. And today, our guest is Ember. And Ember, I'm going to take off with the first question. How did you get from the life that I've known you from, which is the political sphere, to ballroom dancing?
Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you. And I also want to thank you, Barbara, for a show that lifts up the lives of women. I think that's really important. And particularly now, women are getting more and more in the forefront. So I love this. And maybe my story is a bit of that transition because I started in political life very young. I was 29 when I was first elected to the Minnesota State Senate, and I was the youngest woman ever elected to our Senate. And at that time, I was young and I had to learn how to be a leader and how to get along with colleagues, male colleagues, and things. I was also a lawyer. And it was an intense world, to be honest. I wasn't sure how to do it. I mean, do you remember back then? This is like I was elected in 82, that the women would wear those little bow ties at the neck and or hanging down, and we'd have suits and they were matching and no jewelry, and you wanted to look more like a man. And that's kind of where I was because I was in a very masculine environment at the Capitol. I kind of learned how to be someone that I thought that I needed to be rather than someone who I was. And so as I was learning the ropes at the legislature and learning how to pass the bills and work with my colleagues, I was very structured. I was very intense. I wanted to be prepared for absolutely everything. And I wasn't authentic. And so obviously I was not having a good luck in finding a relationship. I was, putting people off, I think, and men were my colleagues. I was just going to be perfect. So finally, at the age of 35, mind you, I decided I needed to do something drastic. My mother had been a ballroom dance instructor and for years had wanted me to dance. And I said, no, I was intimidated by the likes of her because she was a jitterbug queen. So at the age of 35, decided I had to do something different. And I walked into a dance studio and I took my first lesson. But the only reason I walked into that studio was one reason: to find a husband. That was my goal, not to dance, to find a husband. Well, I found one a few years later, but he doesn't dance a step. What I've discovered was that dance changed me. And that's how it happened when I met Mike about 3 years later, fell instantly in love and was able to do that. And the reason for that, and I can just tell you this, I needed to relax, to be me. And dance for me allowed me to find my authentic self. It allowed me to have fun. It allowed me to jive with the music and express myself. It allowed me to be me. It also, are you ready for this? It also allowed me to be in close contact with gentlemen without thinking that they had any other intention, right? Because at the legislature, men would sometimes want to take you out to dinner or a lobbyist or whatever. And I wasn't sure if they were interested in me or getting their bill passed, right? So, all of those reasons, I started dancing. I was surprised how much it relaxed me. And I've been dancing off and on ever since.
Wow.
Can I ask this question as the first one? I've heard there's a lot of benefits to dancing, and some of them that I've read about were, I'm going to get the paper here, that it helps to improve your self-esteem. It's, as you were just saying, Ember, you can meet new people. It can improve your mood and your attitude towards life. And in more recent studies, they say it can help prevent dementia. What can you tell us about that?
All of that, absolutely. And I have found that personally in myself and in my friends who I've been interviewing for my book, The Dance of Resilience. The whole idea of dance is that it takes this unsuspecting individual who takes a few dance classes and they discover the physical, emotional, mental, and social benefits of dance at all ages. Physical, I can tell you my posture has been so improved through my dance. You know how we're all over this like on the computers, right? My gosh, dance keeps me up. It keeps my shoulders back, but also I am proud and who I am. That's part of the physical. The social, oh my goodness. I know so many people who have lost spouses or have tragedy in their lives, and they find a new world in dance because it's a community that only relates to you as a human being. It doesn't matter what you do in life. I mean, I dance with bartenders, I dance with my own hairstylist, I dance with folks, and I dance with doctors and lawyers. We're all the same in dance. I love that. So the social community levels the playing field. They could be the best dancer in the world and be a custodian. Just great. And then mental health benefits. Grief. Oh my goodness. We lost 5 members of our family in 3 years. And when I got back to dance, I realized how much dance just helped to avoid depression. So it just really helped to stimulate that. For older adults, now that I'm reaching older adult stage, I am definitely past Medicare, let's put it that way. The stage of life where you have to worry about dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, there are studies, like you said, Beverly, where frequent partner dance has been proven to be 76% more effective than any other activity in the prevention of dementia. Wow. Now, I'm talking physical activities, I'm talking mental activities. My husband does crossword puzzles. That's the next one in line. That's 44% preventer of dementia. But physical partner dance, and I mean partner dance, where I'm dancing with a partner and I have to figure out what he's going to do and he's got to figure out what I'm going to do. And I'm not very predictable. And, you just kind of go back and forth. That is what coordinates mind and body. So that part is just proven. And I want more and more seniors to understand how powerful that is. Finally, the studies are very clear that dance can also reverse the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. There's actually a group that was founded in New York City called Dance for PD, where they have curricula that really apply only to patients who have PD. He did a film. David Leventhal is the founder. He did a film, a documentary. I think it was called "They Are Not Patients, They Are Dancers." And he films these individuals who you see shuffling with a cane in their living room. And then they get on the stage with music, and they are as beautiful a dancer as anyone you've seen. They can flow. Somehow the music allows that. And so, yes, I have seen that. I've written stories about this, about how the Parkinson's symptoms can be even reversed. A couple here in Minneapolis, the wife is a dancer, the husband had Parkinson's. He was a 9 on the impairment scale. And then after a year or two working with his wife on dance moves, he went down to a 4. I'm not kidding. This is huge power. Nobody knows about it. And that's why I'm very happy to be saying this on your program so others can become more aware.
Wow.
I have a question. I had no clue about the Parkinson's part, and I do have early stages of Parkinson's, so I'm very interested, and I'll probably look into that. But one question I had, and all my life I've been a 2 left feet, awkward kind of person. Is there any hope for the awkward people out there to get out there on the dance floor and even, make a respectable showing?
First of all, you don't know how many times I've heard that from people. And then about 6 months later, they are having a ball. It's all about anything else. It's just learning how. It's training. It's like the step goes here, the step goes here, the step goes there, and hearing the music and the beat. And people do have different levels of ability to hear that music. Melissa, I understand, you probably hear a lot of African music, and that's a different kind of beat, right? Mm-hmm. But once you understand how to hear that music, particularly for the men who have to normally lead, but women can too, then it just comes together so well. It's all about just having really good teachers who can help you go meet you where you are and your partner where you are and help you to fix to kind of adjust to what you can do. I have found that older adults, particularly, which is one of the bigger audiences for my book, will be most addicted to this once they start, right? They'll take a few lessons and they don't want to stop. They just don't want to stop. And there's usually not only private lessons, but there could be group lessons. And so you have a class where you switch lots of different partners. That's another way you can meet people. You do not need a partner to dance. That's the other thing a lot of people think about. You do not. Remember, my husband still does not dance a step, and we've been married happily for 31 years. Okay. But I have a partner, a social dance partner, and he and I both have husbands, and it works perfectly. So the way that we do this is, we dance. My husband and I actually made a deal in our marriage. I wouldn't teach him how to dance. He wouldn't teach me how to golf. And we've kept to that all these years.
I love that. Melissa, do you have a question?
Yes, I was just thinking, to take on dancing, is that not a lot of time commitment? And, especially if you don't have much time, because I'm thinking you must do maybe a couple of days, whatever, just talk about the time commitment.
That's an excellent question. And it is what you want it to be. For many years when I was in the Senate and in my, full-time attorney life, I took 1 lesson a week. That was 1 hour. But now that I'm a little older, I have a little more resources and a little more time. I'm taking more lessons. Some take 3, 4 lessons a week. I try to dance every day in some group class or something because it's my exercise of the day. It's my social for the day, right? And so it's up to you. Um, and if you want to compete, you probably take a little bit more dance lessons. But the whatever you want to do, you can do, and it's up to you. And again, you don't need a partner. And you can dance in a variety of places in your hometown. Usually they have several different studios that you can go to.
Okay.
You know, I think it's really interesting, this whole topic, especially the health benefits. I was not aware of that, and I think that's very important for our audience to learn about. But I have to tell you that I love watching ballroom dancing and especially the clothes. So tell us a little bit about the clothes. It's probably not an important part for me, a participant, but as a viewer, oh my gosh, I love seeing your dresses.
They are, when you do compete, you generally have ball gowns, and that's for your styles of what we call smooth, which is waltz, tango, foxtrot, Viennese waltz. So those are the elegant princess type dances, right? And I love those too. And the ballroom gowns just flow along with you, and you feel really like a queen. It's very feminine. And that was something, by the way, I wasn't feeling so much when I was in that intense stage of my life. And now I get to feel feminine and dress up. I will just say that in my early years, one of my one of my first competitions brought back a dress for rhythm dancing, was a cha-cha, rumba, and swing, that sort of thing. That had very short skirt, very much aligned my body. I mean, we're talking just skin tight. I can't wear that. He said, yes, you will. And then off I went and I wore this, and it looked gorgeous, but it never occurred to me to wear this. So it makes you feel so different when you dress up in that way. Now, let me just get to the dresses themselves. They are available oftentimes from other dancers. You can get them on sale, so you don't have to spend a lot of money. Used ball gowns, used rhythm dresses, but they are expensive. They're probably, some of those dresses you see are like $5,000. And so that is really a lot. But here's what I can also tell you is I discovered finally that you could get them from China. Okay. And so the dress I'm recently wearing for my competitions costs $360 from China. And you just send your measurements in and they send you back a dress. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I'd found this a long time ago.
Since we're talking about clothing, I know over the years I've taken different dance lessons too, but I think one of the most important things are the shoes you wear. And there's such a variety of shoes. You got to be able to slide and twist and turn. And can you tell us about that?
The shoes are extremely important, and you have to have dance shoes. You do. They have to give you the arch and the support, right? And there's different shoes for different styles. So the waltz and tango styles have a higher arch and usually a heel for competition. And then the rhythm styles are usually more open and the toe and all that. But all of them give you that arch support. And then there are practice shoes that I wear all the time that also give you the arch support. I would not dance in gym shoes. I would not dance in your, sandals or anything. You can really get hurt if you do that. So it's important.
Let's see. I was thinking about, we were talking about the clothing and I know what I wanted to ask you. How frequently do the competitions get televised or broadcast or recorded? That kind of thing.
Usually, there are a lot of dance competitions around the country, anywhere from Hawaii to New York. And there's probably two or three a month somewhere. And so some of them are for pro-am, meaning I, as a student, dance with my teacher. It's professional amateur. Okay, those are the ones I participate in. And then there's others that are am-am, which are amateur, where an amateur man and amateur gal or leader follower dance together. They are not usually televised, but you can see them online in some cases. The shows that have brought the popularity of dancing are clearly Dancing with the Stars and So You Think You Can Dance. Unfortunately, that is not what you really do in ballroom studios, because you don't spend 8 hours a day working on things. But it does, as you say, when you watch it, it's just beautiful. To me, the real benefit of dance, however, my hope from those shows is that people get inspired to say, I want to try it. And I just want to give you a couple of the stories that I have interviewed that are just truly breathtaking. A gentleman from Duluth, Minnesota, is 50 years old. He works in HVAC. I mean, he's a guy who gets under furnaces and all this kind of stuff, and really tough job. And he works in crisis, so he's got to be on call all the time. The furnace is blowing up. He's the guy that's going to fix it. Well, he went somewhere close by to a friend's farm who had a bull. The bull's name was Nitro. And to make a long story short, he got attacked by the bull. The bull attacked his femur, just the horn went right into his thigh. They didn't think he was going to live. They got him to the hospital. The doctors told him he would never walk again. Well, this guy was not to be held back. He got out of the hospital and he started to do whatever he could to reconnect his brain to his leg. The nerves, everything were shattered. They didn't work. You know what he did? He was told this by some people. They said, go to the local studio here in Duluth and dance. Start putting your head to your leg. He went into the studio with a cane, tried to hide the pain that he was in, said to the female instructor, I'd like to learn to dance. And so she said, okay, fine. So let's move your leg. Yep, he moved his leg. Let's move the other leg. He could not move it. She had to literally move his leg over. Then he moved his right leg. Then she moved the left leg, et cetera, et cetera. He was going to learn this waltz. He practiced 10 hours a day in front of a mirror so his brain could see what his leg was doing. Mm-hmm. And you know what? In a year and a half, he was in a competition and he won Best Newcomer Male. He did it. Now, 7 years later, he's pretty much all healed in that region from the attack. And he's basically gone back to his business and his life. He still dances because he loves it. But here he was, this sort of gruff guy, taking orders from these young females. Okay, I mean, the whole dynamic is so different. And look what it did for him. And one other quick story was the woman named Regina, who was from Korea. She came over to marry someone without really knowing this person. The marriage turned abusive, but she stayed for 20 years on behalf of the kids. And finally, it got too much and she needed to leave. She had nobody here. She had a job, but I mean, just really no real family here. And she was extremely depressed. She started dancing, didn't know a thing about it. A friend told her to start. And now she says that she wants to die dancing. That's all she wants to do. It has given her self-esteem back, her self-worth back, her confidence, like you were saying, Beverly, because she lost it. And she had been a highly professional woman when she left Korea. So those are two stories of how dance changes your life. That to me is the importance of this conversation.
That's really incredibly extraordinary. Melissa, I think it might be your turn.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna add on to that besides, I think it makes you really happy because I know some dancers look so serious, but you can't be dancing if you don't feel happy inside. I think it brings out some happiness and makes things look a lot better.
It brings out a joy that I didn't really experience before. To be honest, yes, it is joy. And it's joy in just because these people have become such good friends of mine as well. The joy of having a great relationship with your dance teacher. I have the social dance partner. They are just the happiest times for me, really, outside of my own family. And I remember when my first teacher, when I interviewed him, that first teacher when I was so tight as a career woman, he told me that the greatest compliment he ever received from me, and I thought I must have been a terrible student. I probably thought I thought I was in control, trying to be in control. And he said, no, you were letting me be in control, he said. But the best compliment I ever got was when you told me, Ember, that you could be yourself with me. And I couldn't be that way with anybody else. And if you can be yourself, Melissa, that's the most joyful thing you can be.
That's true. That's true.
You know, that's the one thing that struck me when when we began this conversation, Ember, is that previously you just didn't feel authentic. And I think that's extraordinary. That's a deal breaker, you know.
Yeah, but not just in dance, it's in my life. So
Yeah.
I'm more authentic with my family, my husband, but also in my political work. Okay. So if I'm doing analysis on politics, I say it like I feel. I'm not gonna, it's like it might not be what my party does, but it's authenticity to me is the number one thing that we're missing in the political world right now, right? So I just think it goes through everything. And I think it makes a better community, a better world when people can feel this authenticity and this joy and be themselves.
Thank you, Ember. Beverly, I'm going to have to rely on you in terms of time as my
okay.
timer went kaput.
Sure, you bet. Okay. Well, we have like 50 seconds left. So I'm going to do a real quick, I'll keep track of it, Barbara. And, a new learner, somebody coming into the studio, they're a little bit hesitant, if you were to, in like 15 seconds, what would you tell them?
Look up the local dance studios in your community. You can look up USA Dance, which is an organization of amateur dancers. You'll get a lot of information about it, but just do it. Go in and take that first lesson. You will not regret it. That's all I say. Do it like Nike.
That's perfect. So I'll wind up the show since I'm watching the time here.
Sure.
And, thank you, everybody, for being wonderful co-hosts. And Ember, what valuable information for our audience. I learned a lot today, and especially about the medical benefits. So thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
And thank you to all the co-hosts as well.